Today we're going to share the word from Mark 10, but before that I want to remind you, as most of you remember, maybe we are heading, this is the Halloween season, right? You see everything around you Halloween, and I have no problem with that. Do not misunderstand me, okay? But I have a problem when we forgot our church calendar. The last Sunday of every month in October is the Reformation Sunday. To remind us where we came from, to remind us that we all have roots. We do not just come from nowhere. Suddenly we became whatever, non-denominational, Baptist, Presbyterian, all these names that sometimes I feel lost between these different names. But we should not be lost to remember that God always worked in the church. When the church was good, when the church was bad, when the church was listening, and when the church was stubborn and moving in a different direction. God works with the Jews. God works with all his disciples. He himself was a good Jew. And the Christianity was born out of that, and late became Catholic and Orthodox. But then out of that, on the year of 1517, this is the year where Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, okay? Martin Luther, okay? People just, so talking about 500 years, somewhere in Europe, in a country called Germany, this guy, he was a very honest Catholic monk who just wants to shake the church. He wants to give the church a good trouble. He just wants to let the church to rethink about what are we doing? What all this about? And he found the greatest thing when he found the word that by faith human actually can live and feel good. Why this is like a new thing? Because if you grow up in a very old traditional church like Catholic or Orthodox, you have to do everything. The way you get the communion, the way you handle the Bible, the way you handle the candles, all these things. There is no way you can mess around it. That's what makes you doing things. But people forgot the Bible. People do not have an access to Bible. People do not even know what, even if they have an access to Bible, they not even have the language. It's written in the language for the elites, for those who are educated, for 10% around the whole world. So when Martin Luther came with this enlightenment to talk about the three pillars that's made people like us today exist, when he talks about the sola fide, sola scriptura, which is the word, it's all Latin. Scriptura means scripture. Sola fide is only by salvation, only by the Bible. And sola Christo, which means only by Christ. So he started to feel the church lost in the way we handle the communion, the way we handle things, the way the priests dress, the way the deacons handling things. And we forgot about who is the center of all of that. The church was lost even to think about, we are saying a mass in a language nobody understands. Just imagine if I delivered a sermon to you today in Arabic, would you understand anything, right? This is how the church became so disconnected and do not care about what's happening to people. They care about gathering money. They care about building big cathedral. That's we go with today in Europe and especially in Rome, and we are so amazed by this beauty of art. But when it was made, it was not just beauty of art. It was suffering. It was people giving money to the Pope and to the church because they're afraid from a guy called God, if they did not pay him, he will put him and take them to hell. People were so poor and so oppressed. This is the context that we were one time when we think about this bad Catholic. We are part of that. We came from this tradition. And some group that they were so courageous enough to come out of that because they know by faith I can find way. Even if I screw up to do many things in the church. Even if I do not know how to put things in order. Even if I do not know how to recite the Lord's Prayer. I do not know Latin. I'm not educated. I'm not rich. I did not even have money to give to God. And Martin Luther is coming with this, saying that only by Christ, only by the word in the scripture, the Bible, only by salvation. Yes, only by that. Anything else is details. Anything else is just something that's make it like a decoration. But the heart of Christianity is, do you really belong to God, or do you sometimes we play church. We play to be like God's people, but we do not really understand what that means to be connected and to know that I am sinner, I am weaker, and I need God's help. So this is what we all hear today, to know that, yes, we were not just born out of nowhere. We have roots. And our roots that says that God always worked with us. He worked with our ancestors, even when they had no idea about even Judaism or Christianity, even before they were Catholic. If you think about Europe or somebody like me, like in Egypt, they were worshiping idols before Christianity. That was their religion. So when they break through coming from worshiping as something that do not talk, do not do anything, into moving to a real relationship with a person that really cares about them and is in relationship with them. This is our Christianity that tells the story. When we highlight the history of Reformation, we don't want to be full of ourselves and think, yeah, we got it wrong, right. Everybody else got it wrong, and we waited until Martin Luther came, and we got it right, and we did not need to do anything else. That means we got it wrong. Reformation, when we talk and go talking about history, we don't want to just feel like we are the best one because we got the explanation of what to be Christian. The Reformation history reminds us about that God works every day with every groups. I did not care what's your title of your denomination. I did not care what's the title of that's brought you to Christianity. But I care about, do you really believe in the spirit of Christianity that cares about people, that know that one day I was in the dark, and now I see and understand what to be in the light. And every time when you feel that, the overwhelming love and gratitude to the person who rescued you, you cannot just keep it for yourself. You just go out. And as we come today to this wonderful text that talks about this Bartimaeus, the blind guy. This is not the first time that Christ healed the blind guy. But this story is so rich to remind you that God even gave him the name of we know even the name of his own dad. Many times when with the wealthy man, the woman with the flow blood, so we didn't really know names of, we know God performed the blind man. If you go back into chapter 8, you'll find exactly another different stories about Christ healed another blind man. Why Mark is keep repeating about the blindness? Why Mark is trying to tell us another, it will be more interesting, tell us about different kind of miracles and not to repeat them. Because he wants to tell you, he wants to talk about the blindness, not just we talk about the eyesight. He's talking about the spiritual blindness. He's talking about many of us who has a sharp eyesight, but they could really by heart could not see many miracles that's happened every day around them. So this is a guy that's very wonderful, because the whole gospel, if I try to remind you that million times we said like, what do we like to know about Mark? Mark is the oldest and the shortest. This is the two things that I always like you to keep in your mind as to study Mark. He's the busy guy. He doesn't have much time to tell you about all details. If you want more details, go to Matthew, go to Luke. But he's the guy that's so busy. Why he's so obsessed about something? He wants to focus on Christ that's going to the cross. Christ that's going to Jerusalem. Not to be glorified as a king, but actually to be crucified. To remind that if you want to follow this guy, know that in your life will be some troubles. In your life, you'll have no explanation for a lot of suffering and injustice, even on a personal level, on a family level, or even sometimes in a community level. So this guy is telling us, and he drew a wonderful, beautiful picture about Christ is coming out of Jericho. He is on the road. He's trying to highlight Christ is busy because he's going where? He's going to Jerusalem. He left Jericho. We know he's not in the house. He's not in shopping in a mall, you know. He is on the way. He is outside there. He's so busy focusing on where is the next step. Which step bring me closer to Jerusalem? So this is the picture that Mark's trying to draw in front of you. Christ is busy walking outside, saying bye to Jericho. And then while he's walking with his disciples, and while they were leaving the city, a blind man was there. The blind man was not in a shelter. He was not in a special spot where he can stay. It's the only place that where nobody will bother him because nobody care about his location. He's not blocking the traffic. He's not blocking the farmers from doing their job. He is in a place where nobody care because he cannot bother anybody. As for Timaeus, and as like with the large thing, as we said, that the Mark want to honor him, so he told us even his name, the son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside doing what? He was not putting an advertisement for who is your favorite candidate, you know? He was not doing anything for that. He was caring for himself. He was making noise. And this noise was for, I need money. This is what he used to make. I didn't know if you grow up in somewhere like where I was, where really beggars can stay there for a long time, and they use their own whatever they have, like if they lost a leg or a hand or an eye. So this became the source of income for them. So if you try to go and say, oh, actually I can take you to the hospital, they may do something for you. You will be surprised from the reaction. They will not be happy with that. Because you are actually, it sounds like you're doing a miracle. You're giving them a new opportunity. You may see, you may walk again. You may use your hand again. But by day, as time goes by, they get used to have a secure income that comes from their default. So this thing, put yourself in the place of this man who did not know how many years, but he got used to that. He got used to people look at him and feel pity and just try to give him money. And if you just open his eyes and made him walk again like somebody normal, then there is no reason for people to feel pity, and there is no reason for people to give him more money. So as he was sitting on the road, he heard there is a noise around him. This guy that they are debating about him, Jesus of Nazareth, the guy that we do not know who his father, and we know that he's a cousin of a big guy that's named John the Baptist. So there was a lot of rumors around Christ. He did not pick on the rumors. He picked on something that, no, there is something special about this guy. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout. Just think of a crowd there, you know. Think of walking in the Times Square in New York, you know, and how noisy it is, you know. Even if you scream, maybe nobody will hear you if you scream. That's how the crowd was big and noisy. And this did not stop him from being noisier. Did not stop him from being louder. And this is the first time in the New Testament that Jesus will be called the Son of David. This is a big proclamation. Oh, it sounds simple for us. But no, that sound, it's given the royal title. I know who you are. I know you are somebody who can offer me something that nobody can give me. And what a wonderful thing that for this poor man that who can ask for money, just for the healing of his body. But he said, have mercy on me. And many just say, be quiet, be quiet. You're bothering our guy. You're so loud, you're so noisy. You just making a lot of disruption here. And we assume that the Christ disciples were trying to quiet him. Be quiet. But he shouted more. And he repeated the same thing. David, son of David, have mercy on me. How many times we try to do that in the church? How many times instead of listening to some voices that maybe we do not like, but maybe this is the way God sometimes just bothering us, because when we feel too comfortable, we like to stay where we are, and we do not like to move and go in the right direction. We like the BDS. The time goes by. We like the location. We became so comfortable. The money comes. People feel sad for us. They tap on our shoulders. But we forgot to listen to the guy that's walking by us. How many times that Christ walked by your life daily and you cannot see and listen? How many times that people around you try to encourage you, give up on this guy, he's not for you. He's not listening for you. He does not care about what happened to you. We have two enemies. One from those who maybe feel bad for us, and they try to say, like, I think your God is not good for you. And the worst one is our own thoughts. When we are hurt, when we are down, we start to think, where are you, God? Why are you not giving me what I want, what I asked for? So this, and then the result was God listened to him in the middle of this noise. In the middle of this noisy thing, in the middle of everybody's trying to shush him down, Jesus stopped everything. Stopped all the feeling. I'm sure that was a good feeling for a leader when you are surrounded by many people cheering up for you and trying to make the way for you and try to keep those people unclean, the noisy, the one who's not speaking in the right way and in a good manner. Just let them stop talking. That maybe as a human will make me feel good. But Christ is not just human. He's God. He's the one who can see where nobody else can see. He's the one who can hear where nobody else can hear. He's the one actually who can understand what's going in your mind and your heart even more than yourself. So this was God's reward, was Jesus' reward to him. He called him. And when he called him, the disciples, I imagine, it's not clear in the text, but I imagine the disciples are walking to this guy not in a happy way, but because Christ called him down, and they're going in a very grumpy, not maybe a happy voice and say, lucky you, just come, the master wants you. I didn't think they were happy about that, but because the master command, and they have to follow him. This say, cheer up on your feet. He's calling you, come, let's see what he's going to do with you. And this guy did an amazing thing when he threw his cloak aside. For a poor man, that's all he had. The clock was for the rich people, there are many layers, like when in these days. So when he said that, he's thrown the thing, you know what's the clock for him? It's the only shelter for his body from the cold, from the rain. It's the only thing maybe he's using out because he cannot see. Maybe putting on the floor for people to throw money on it. So the meaning of the clock is very deep. It's not just a piece of clothes. It's like he's cheering up, like when you throw your hat out in the air and feel happy. He's giving the most precious thing. He throw it away. Because you think that's maybe a stumble on the way between me and Christ. He jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. What do you want me to do for you? He asked him. And the blind man told him, Rabboni in Hebrew, which is as well was translated as my teacher, but it has more meaning than that. My teacher, I want to see. And Jesus said, your faith has healed you. Just how many times we want to get the rewards. but do not want to get the commitment. How many times we are like a children, we want to treat God like the ATM. I do not care about which bank account, who's paying the money. I care about once I push the things, I want to get the cash out. I do not care about where the money coming from. I do not care if it's coming from my dad or my mom or somebody even I'm not related to. But God is saying that faith is more important than any reward you will get. The rewards could be in many ways. Faith is the way where there is no way. Faith is the light where there is no light. Faith is the reason where there is no reason. Faith is the way that I continue doing what I do even when sometimes I'm mad at myself. You cannot give up on being God's light and being salt in the world because it was planted in you. When you are planted in Christ, even if you try to stop, you cannot. Even when you try to turn around, you will come back. Even when you try to act like not a kid of a child of God, God will bring you back. This is the faith that we need today. When God said, your faith has healed you. God gave us way, even when healing means many ways. Healing could be God is capable to snap his finger and give us a great meaning of healing. Real healing like the way we think and wish. But many times I see healing can be even when God's give you the patience to go through suffering. When God give you the way to be the voice of love and care while you are yourself maybe physically or mentally sometimes hurt. This is the faith that God gave us today. This is the way that we are connected to God from the beginning, and God will work with us and through us if we listen and if we hold his hand to move forward. Amen.
If anyone has any prayer requests, joys, or concerns, raise your hand and I will come out